My brother slept with my girlfriend for 3 years, then I exposed their messages and walked away. My brother ruined my 3-year relationship, said it just happened. Family told me to move on. So I moved on from the family business I'd been holding together for years. I'm 32, sitting here in my new apartment, 3 months removed from the nuclear bomb that went off in my family. Figured it was time to get this off my chest because honestly, some of you might think I went too far. Most of you will probably say I did not go far enough. Either way, here is how I systematically destroyed my family's finances after discovering my brother had been sleeping with my girlfriend for our entire 3-year relationship. Let me start with the family dynamics, because that is important context for understanding why I did what I did. My younger brother Tyler has always been the golden child, not in the subtle way where you wonder if you are being paranoid. I'm talking about the kind of favoritism so blatant it would make a sitcom writer say, "Tone it down." That is unrealistic. Growing up, I was the responsible one. I got good grades without being asked, helped around the house, had a part-time job by 15. Standard older sibling stuff that nobody particularly noticed or appreciated. Tyler, though, had different rules entirely. Failed 3 classes his junior year of high school: English, history, and algebra. Not even hard classes. Dad's response: he is just not challenged enough. We should look into advanced placement courses. The kid who could not pass basic algebra was apparently ready for advanced placement calculus. That lasted 1 week before he dropped out, claiming the teacher had it out for him. He got caught shoplifting a pair of headphones from Target when he was 16. $200 noise-canceling ones. Security caught him walking out. Mom's take: just a phase, boys will be boys. They did not press charges, so really, was it that serious? No punishment. No making him work to pay it back. Nothing. I got a 2-week grounding when I was 15 for coming home 1 hour past curfew because I was helping a friend whose car broke down. I called ahead, explained everything. It did not matter. Rules are rules. But shoplifting was just boys being boys. When Tyler was 17, he crashed Dad's truck into a mailbox while joyriding. Absolutely demolished it. Totaled the front end. About $8,000 in damage. He had 3 friends in the car. Was going probably 50 in a 25. Dad's response: accidents happen. That is what insurance is for. When I was 17, I accidentally scratched Mom's car door with my bike. Tiny scratch, maybe 3 inches. I had to pay for the repair out of my summer savings. Different standards, same family. Then there was the college money situation. Dad had set aside about $40,000 for each of us. Mine went to tuition and books. Tyler burned through his in 1 year on living expenses and partying, then dropped out. Did Dad make him pay it back? No. Tyler moved back home rent-free, and Dad kept slipping him money for failed business ventures. The real kicker is how this followed us into adulthood. Because at least when we were kids, you could argue Tyler was young and stupid. But the favoritism did not stop when we became adults. It got worse. I worked my rear end off to get through college, took out loans, worked 2 part-time jobs, graduated with a finance degree, and landed a solid position as a financial analyst at a mid-sized firm. Nothing glamorous, but I made decent money and was climbing the ladder. By 26, I had bought my own place, paid off my car, had actual savings sitting in investment accounts. I was doing everything right according to the responsible adult playbook. Tyler dropped out of college after 1 year, said the traditional education system was too restrictive for his entrepreneurial spirit, then bounced between business ventures that never worked. First was a pressure washing business. He made Dad buy him a $3,000 commercial pressure washer, trailer, and advertising. He did maybe 3 jobs, made about $400 total, then stopped returning calls. Too much physical work. Equipment sat in Dad's garage for 2 years. Then a vending machine empire. He watched some YouTube guy talking about passive income and became convinced. He bought 4 machines on credit, placed them in terrible locations, an abandoned strip mall, a gym that already had 3 machines, 2 office buildings where he did not ask permission and got kicked out after 1 week. He lost $6,000 total. Next was cryptocurrency trading. He convinced Dad to give him $10,000 to invest. Lost $9,000 in 3 months buying random coins because Reddit said they would moon. He kept the remaining $1,000 for a new phone, then social media consulting. He made an Instagram account. He charged $500 to manage businesses' social media. He got 2 clients, both family friends, posted maybe twice a month, random stuff with nothing to do with their businesses, and ghosted when they asked for refunds. Every failed business was bad timing or people did not understand his vision. Every job he quit, and he went through probably 7 or 8, was because his boss could not handle his innovative ideas. He sold phones at Verizon for 3 months before quitting because they expected him to meet sales targets. He worked at a gym for 5 weeks before getting fired for constant lateness. He lived in mom and dad's basement until he was 25, rent-free, contributing nothing. And the whole time, mom would defend him at Sunday dinners. Tyler is just finding his path. He is an entrepreneur. These things take time. I am sitting there thinking, I found my path just fine. Nobody gave me 5 years of free rent to figure it out. But here is where it gets relevant to the story. 3 years ago, Dad asked me to help him restructure his construction company's finances. He had built a decent business over 30 years, mostly residential renovation and small commercial projects. But he was old school about money management. Everything was in his head or scribbled on paper napkins. No real systems in place. His idea of bookkeeping was a shoebox full of receipts and a checkbook he balanced maybe twice a year. I spent 6 months of nights and weekends setting up proper bookkeeping systems, created spreadsheets for project tracking, implemented QuickBooks, established relationships with better suppliers who gave us volume discounts. I renegotiated contracts with subcontractors, identified which projects were actually profitable versus which ones were just keeping guys busy. I saved him probably $80,000 that first year just by streamlining operations and cutting waste. His thank you, a handshake, and that is what family does. No payment, no equity, not even a Christmas bonus, just the expectation that I would keep doing it because we are family. And like an idiot, I did. Fast forward 2 years and Dad decides to semi-retire. He is 62, wants to step back, travel with mom, maybe play some golf. Totally reasonable. Any guess who he brings on as his successor? That is right, Tyler. Despite my brother having exactly zero experience in construction, project management, or running a business, despite me having basically served as the unpaid chief financial officer for 3 years, I had been managing the finances for free this whole time, saving the company tens of thousands of dollars per year. But Tyler got the actual title, the $75,000 salary, and Dad put his name on half the business ownership, just handed him 50% of a company worth probably $1.2 million at the time. When I pointed out that I had basically been doing executive-level work without pay for 3 years, Dad said, "You have your own career. Tyler needs this more than you do, right? Because that is how business succession should work. Give it to the person who needs it most, not the person who is actually qualified or who has been keeping the ship afloat." But I let it slide because I am a doormat who kept thinking family should mean something. Now, let us talk about Rachel, my ex-girlfriend. I met her 4 years ago through mutual friends at a barbecue. She was fun, smart, worked as a dental hygienist, had this laugh that could light up a room. We just clicked. We started dating pretty seriously after a couple of months. I introduced her to my family around month 3. Looking back, that was probably when everything went sideways. Tyler laid on the charm immediately. This is his specialty, being the charismatic, funny life of the party guy, while I am the boring one who talks about spreadsheets and retirement accounts. I remember him pulling me aside that first dinner and saying, "Dude, she is way out of your league. How do you manage that?" I laughed it off because I thought he was joking. Stupid me. Over the next 3 years, Rachel got really involved with my family. She would go to their Sunday dinners, even when I had to work late. She would help mom with holiday cooking, went on shopping trips with my aunt, attended Tyler's birthday parties, even when I could not make it due to work. I thought this was great. My girlfriend getting along with my family, integration, commitment, all the things you want in a serious relationship. Looking back, there were signs, little things that did not quite add up, but I explained away because I trusted her. Like how she always wanted to sit next to Tyler at family dinners instead of me. She said it was because I was always getting up to help Dad with something, so she did not want to be stuck between empty chairs. It made sense at the time. Or how she started dressing differently for Sunday dinners, nicer, more makeup, always did her hair. But when we went out, just the two of us, she would show up in jeans and a t-shirt with no makeup. I thought maybe she was just trying to impress my parents. It did not occur to me she was trying to impress my brother. She would text Tyler about random stuff. "Hey, what was that restaurant your family went to last month?" I'm trying to remember the name, or send him memes during the day that she would not send me. When I asked about it once, she said Tyler was just funnier than me. She laughed it off like it was a joke. I laughed too, idiot. There was this one time, about 1 year into our relationship, where I came home early from work and Rachel was at my apartment. She was not supposed to be there. She said she had let herself in to surprise me with dinner. Sweet, right? Except nothing was cooking. No ingredients out. And she was coming out of my bedroom looking flustered, her hair messed up, adjusting her shirt. She said she had been taking a nap and I had startled her. I believed her. Why would not I? I found out later from the messages that Tyler had been there. They had been hooking up in my bed, and I came home earlier than expected. He had apparently hidden in my closet while she talked to me, then snuck out after I went to the bathroom. They thought it was hilarious. They laughed about it in the messages. Close call, laugh out loud. Your brother is clueless. She and Tyler became particularly friendly on social media. They followed each other, which, whatever, was normal. But Tyler would comment on all her photos. Looking good, fire emoji, outfits on point, that kind of stuff. That should have been a red flag, but I wrote it off as him being friendly. She would do the same on his posts, hyping up his gym photos, his new car, whatever. They had more interaction online than she and I did. Then there were the work excuses. Rachel's schedule as a dental hygienist was pretty regular. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., occasional Saturday morning. But she started picking up a lot of overtime, or at least that is what she told me. Working late, covering for 6 EO workers, going in on weekends. I supported it because we were saving for a house. More money was good. Turned out most of that overtime did not exist. She was with Tyler. They would meet up while I was at work, or she would tell me she had plans with her girlfriends and go see him instead. 3 years of this. 3 years of elaborate lies and excuses and me just accepting it all because I trusted her. My best friend Jordan tried warning me about 6 months ago. We were watching the game at his place, and he brought it up casually during a commercial break.
Hey man, I am not trying to start anything, but has Rachel been acting weird lately? Like distant?
I thought about it. She had been less interested in spending time together. She picked more fights over stupid stuff like me working late or how I loaded the dishwasher. She was on her phone constantly, always tilting the screen away when I walked by. But I'd been busy with work and helping Dad, so I figured we were just in a bit of a rut. Every relationship goes through phases, right? I told Jordan, we are fine, just busy. He did not push it, but he gave me this look. The look that says, I tried to warn you. The truth came out 3 months ago in the most pathetic way possible. I was at my parents' house on a Wednesday afternoon helping Dad with some paperwork for a big commercial bid. Tyler was supposed to be at a job site overseeing a kitchen renovation. Rachel was supposed to be working an afternoon shift at the dental office. I was in the home office when I heard noises upstairs. Footsteps, voices, laughing. I figured maybe Dad was up there, so I went to check. That is when I heard them in Tyler's childhood bedroom, which he still used when he stayed over. Rachel's voice, very clearly not alone. Then Tyler's laugh. That stupid laugh he does when he thinks he is being clever. I stood there in that hallway for probably 30 seconds, while my brain refused to process what I was hearing. Then something clicked. Not the explosive anger you see in movies, the cold, calculating kind that makes you think clearly for the first time in years. I pulled out my phone and started recording audio through the door. I got about 2 minutes of very incriminating evidence. I could not make out every word, but enough. Then I walked downstairs, got in my car, and drove home. I did not confront them. I did not burst through the door. I just collected evidence and left. That night, I went through Rachel's laptop while she was in the shower. I know, invasion of privacy, but screw it. At that point, my gut was screaming at me, and I needed to know the truth. My hands were shaking as I opened her laptop. She did not even have it password protected when she was home. She trusted me completely. Ironic, I found the messages almost immediately. She was not even trying to hide them. Just regular texts, not even a hidden app or anything. I scrolled back through months of conversations, then years. My stomach dropped as the dates kept going back. Back past our anniversary, back past Christmas, back past the vacation we took to the coast, back to almost the beginning of our relationship. The messages were disgusting. Not just the sexual stuff, though, there was plenty of that. Graphic details about what they did, where they did it, when they did it. But it was the way they talked about me that really cut deep. He is so boring in bed, like missionary with the lights off, and that is it. Does he ever just do something spontaneous, or is everything scheduled in his phone? Your brother is cute, but he is basically a robot. Seriously, I think he has his socks organized by color. Who does that? Tyler's responses made it worse. He will not find out. He is too busy with work and that family business stuff. Sometimes I feel bad, but like she clearly prefers me. Cannot blame her. Laugh out loud. Honestly, dude has no game. I am doing him a favor by keeping her entertained. Otherwise, she would have left him by now. There were messages about specific times. That time they had hooked up during Thanksgiving while I was helping Dad carve the turkey. The Christmas when I had been shopping for Rachel's present, and they had snuck off to Tyler's car in the driveway. My birthday party last year when I thought Rachel and Tyler had both disappeared to get more ice and drinks. They had been together in the garage. The messages talked about family gatherings like they were cover for their affair. Sunday dinners were perfect because I was always distracted helping Dad or talking with uncles. Holiday parties meant they could disappear for 20 minutes without anyone noticing. My apartment was their favorite spot because I worked predictable hours, and they knew exactly when it was safe. I found out they had done it in my bed at least a dozen times, in my car twice when Rachel borrowed it, once in the guest bathroom at my parents' house during a family barbecue while I was outside grilling. There were close calls documented, times I almost caught them, times they thought I was suspicious, but every time Tyler would just be extra friendly to me, and Rachel would be extra affectionate for a few days and I would drop it. They talked about me like I was some kind of game to be played, a puzzle to work around. The timeline was damning. First flirty message was dated about 2 months after Rachel and I started dating. Just testing the water stuff. Your brother is lucky to have you. Seemed innocent enough until you saw Tyler's response. He is lucky to have her. Maybe I should get lucky too. First actual meetup was 3 months in Tyler's apartment. Rachel told me she was having a girls' night. I took screenshots of everything. Hundreds of messages spanning 3 years. I backed them up to 3 different cloud services, downloaded them to a flash drive, made sure I had copies that could not be deleted, even if Rachel figured out what I had done. Then I went further, checked her phone records online. We were on a family plan, so I had access. I saw thousands of texts and calls between her and Tyler, late-night calls while I was asleep, texts during my work hours, calls from parking lots and random locations. Then I did something that surprised even me. I did not confront Rachel. I kept acting normal. I took her out to dinner that weekend. It was pleasant and normal. I even slept with her, all while planning my exit strategy. 2 weeks later, I had everything arranged. New apartment leased and ready. Movers scheduled, bank accounts separated. I even changed my passwords and security questions on everything. Then I planned the family dinner. I told Mom I wanted to host a Sunday dinner at my place for a change. She was thrilled. She thought it meant I was finally getting serious about family. I invited everyone: Mom, Dad, Tyler, Aunt Linda, Uncle Frank, even my cousin who I barely talked to. Rachel, of course, said she would love to come. The night of the dinner, I set everything up nice. Ordered catering so nobody could say I did not make an effort. Had drinks ready, music playing, the whole deal. Everyone showed up in a great mood. Tyler brought craft drinks. Rachel brought a dessert. Everyone acting like we are one big happy family. We got through appetizers and small talk. Then, right as we were sitting down to eat, I stood up with my glass like I was going to make a toast. So, I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. There is something I need to share with the family. Mom smiled, probably thinking I was going to propose or announce a promotion. Tyler looked mildly interested. Rachel looked confused. I have learned something important over the last few weeks. Family is supposed to mean something. Trust is supposed to mean something. But apparently I have been operating under different definitions than the rest of you. The room got quiet. Dad put down his fork. 3 years. That is how long my brother and my girlfriend have been sleeping together. 3 years of family dinners where you all sat here probably knowing, definitely suspecting, and nobody said a word. Rachel's face went white. Tyler's went red. Mom actually gasped. I pulled out my phone and started playing the audio I had recorded. Just 30 seconds of it. Enough for everyone to hear exactly what I had heard in that hallway. Then I pulled up the screenshots on my television. Dated messages. 3 years worth. I let everyone get a good look. Tyler tried to talk first. Dude, I can explain. Things just happened. We did not mean for. Save it. Things do not just happen for 3 years. That takes planning, coordination, lying to my face at every family gathering while you were screwing my girlfriend. Rachel was crying. I am so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I was going to tell you. I swear, I just did not know how. You had 3 years to figure out how. You chose not to. That is called a decision, not a mistake. The room was dead silent. Everyone staring at their plates or at me or at each other. Nobody defending me, nobody looking angry on my behalf. Just uncomfortable silence. Finally, Dad spoke up. This is obviously a difficult situation, but we are family. We need to work through this calmly. Getting angry is not going to help anyone. I laughed. Actually laughed. Work through this calmly? You want me to calmly work through 3 years of betrayal? What do you want us to do? Mom asked. Tyler made a mistake. Rachel made a mistake. But destroying the family over this seems extreme. There it was. There. The response I had been expecting, but still could not quite believe. Do not cause drama. Keep the peace. Protect Tyler because that is what we have always done. I am not destroying anything. I am just done being the family doormat. Done being the responsible one who sacrifices while Tyler gets handed everything and screws it up. Done pretending family means unconditional support when it is really just conditional based on how convenient I am. Tyler stood up. You are being dramatic. Yeah, we messed up. But you are going to throw away your whole family over this? Watch me. I walked to the door and opened it. Everyone out now. Dinner is over. Nobody moved at first. Then Rachel started gathering her things, still crying. Tyler looked like he wanted to argue, but Mom grabbed his arm. They filed out one by one. Dad tried to say something as he passed, but I just shook my head. After they left, I sat in my apartment surrounded by catering food nobody had eaten and felt. Nothing, no anger, no sadness, just clarity. The next day I sent an email to Dad. Formal, professional. Effective immediately, I was resigning from any involvement with the family business. All the systems I had set up, all the supplier relationships, all the financial tracking. Done. I would send over documentation for how everything worked, but I would not be providing any ongoing support. His response came 2 hours later. This is childish. You are hurting the business to get back at Tyler. Think about what you are doing. I thought about it for 3 years while you handed Tyler a company he was not qualified to run. I thought about it every Sunday dinner where I helped for free while Tyler collected a salary. I thought about it plenty. This is me being done thinking about it. The business fell apart faster than I expected. It turns out Tyler's management style of showing up late, ignoring problems, and hoping things work themselves out does not scale well. First major disaster was the Henderson project, a big kitchen renovation for a repeat client. It should have been straightforward. An $8,000 budget, 2 weeks timeline. Tyler was supposed to oversee it. He showed up to the job site exactly twice. He did not order materials until the crew was already there waiting. He ordered the wrong cabinets, had to reorder, which took another week. He hired a plumber who did such a shoddy job, they had to rip everything out and start over. A project that should have taken 2 weeks stretched to 6. The client refused to pay the full amount, threatened to sue. Dad had to eat a $3,000 loss just to keep the relationship. Then there was the Morrison commercial job. A small office build-out, a $20,000 contract. Tyler bid it without actually calculating material costs or labor hours. He just threw out a number that sounded good. It turned out his number was about 30% too low. They lost $8,000 on that job. When Dad asked Tyler about it, Tyler said he was trying to be competitive to win the bid. He did not understand that winning a bid you lose money on is not actually winning. Within 1 month of me leaving, they had lost 2 major clients entirely. One because Tyler missed 3 consecutive deadline extensions. The client literally told Dad they could not work with someone so unreliable. The other because Tyler showed up to a meeting unprepared, could not answer basic questions about the timeline or budget, and tried to wing it with vague nonsense that made the client question if we even knew what we were doing. The new bookkeeping system I had set up, Tyler did not understand it and did not bother learning. He just went back to Dad's old shoebox method. Receipts everywhere, no tracking of job costs, no idea which projects were profitable. I had built this beautiful spreadsheet system that tracked everything, materials, labor, overhead, profit margins, updated automatically. Tyler looked at it once, said it was too complicated, and went back to keeping everything in his head, just like Dad used to do. Suppliers started demanding payment up front because Tyler had burned through all the goodwill I had built. I had spent 2 years building relationships, always paying on time, being straight with people about timelines. Tyler would order materials, promise payment in 30 days, then forget about it until they were calling looking for money 60 days later. One supplier actually showed up at the shop demanding payment before they would unload lumber Tyler had ordered. Dad had to write a check on the spot. Tyler burned through money like it was going out of style. He would order materials without comparing prices. I used to spend time getting quotes from 3 different suppliers, finding the best deal. Tyler would just call whoever answered first and order whatever they had. They paid probably 20% more on materials across the board. He would hire subcontractors without vetting them. I had a list of reliable contractors we had worked with for years. Fair prices, quality work, showed up on time. Tyler would hire whoever posted on Craigslist or whoever he met at a bar, and ended up with a crew that did not show up half the time, did sloppy work the other half, and charged premium rates. He approved change orders without understanding the financial impact. A customer would ask for something extra. Tyler would say, "Sure, no problem," then forget to actually bill for it. I found out later he had given away probably $15,000 worth of additional work because he did not want to seem difficult. The shop itself became a disaster. I used to keep the inventory organized, knew what we had, what we needed to order. Tyler just let everything pile up wherever. Materials for 3 different jobs mixed together. Tools left out in the rain. Equipment not maintained. A $15,000 tile saw broke because nobody bothered to clean it after use, and the motor seized up. Projects went over budget constantly because Tyler did not track costs properly. He would tell a client it would cost $12,000, then spend $17,000 without noticing until the job was done and there was no money left. No contingency planning, no buffer for problems, just blind optimism that everything would work out. Dad had to come out of semi-retirement just to keep things from completely collapsing. At 64 years old, he was back to working 60-hour weeks, getting up at 5 a.m. to open the shop, staying until 7 p.m. to finish paperwork Tyler should have been handling, working Saturdays to fix Tyler's messes from the week. His hands were killing him. His back was hurting. He looked exhausted every time I saw him, and I felt nothing about it. Mom called me after about 2 months. "Your father is exhausted. This needs to stop. You are hurting him to hurt Tyler." I am not hurting anyone. I am simply not helping anymore. There is a difference. If the business cannot function without me providing free labor, that is not my problem. That is a business model problem. Family is supposed to help each other. Family is also supposed to not screw each other over. Funny how you are worried about me helping now, but we're not worried about 3 years of betrayal. She hung up on me. Around month 3, I got a call from Tyler. First time we had spoken since the dinner. He was desperate. "Dude, I know I messed up. I know I screwed up bad, but can we please just put this aside and you help Dad? The business is drowning. You are asking me to put aside 3 years of betrayal so I can save a business that was handed to you for free. The business you are tanking because you have no idea what you are doing. I will step back. I will leave the business entirely. Just please help Dad. Not my problem anymore. You wanted the business. You got it. Figure it out. You are destroying Dad's legacy over a girl. I am watching you destroy it with incompetence. I am just not cleaning up your mess anymore. Big difference." He called me some names and hung up. I blocked my number. Whatever. Over the next few weeks, I systematically rebuilt what I could of my own life. I had been doing consulting work on the side for a while, helping small businesses with financial planning and operations. Just a few hours here and there, mostly for friends of friends. But I had a knack for it. I could look at a business's books and see exactly where they were bleeding money, where they could cut costs, where they could optimize. I turned that into a full-time thing. I set up a proper limited liability company, built a website, reached out to my network. It turned out a lot of people needed help and were willing to pay for it. My first real client was a small heating, ventilation, and air conditioning company that was doing okay revenue-wise, but could not figure out why they were not profitable. I spent 2 weeks analyzing their operations. I found out they were losing money on service calls because they were not factoring in drive time and vehicle costs. I restructured their pricing model. They went from barely breaking even to 15% profit margins in 3 months, paid me $8,000 for 2 weeks of work. Word spread. I got a referral to a landscaping company with similar issues, then a small restaurant group that could not understand their food costs, then a dental practice that wanted to expand but did not know if they could afford it. Each project paid between $5,000 and $15,000, depending on complexity. I was making in 1 month what I used to make in 3 at my analyst job. The work was actually interesting. Every business had different problems. Some needed better pricing strategies. Some needed to cut overhead. Some needed to restructure their operations entirely. I would come in, analyze everything, build them custom spreadsheets and tracking systems, train their staff, and leave them set up for success. Within 6 months, I had 6 steady clients on retainer, monthly consulting fees ranging from $2,000 to $5,000 each, plus project work that came in regularly. I was pulling in about $15,000 a month before taxes, 3 times what I made at my analyst job. I was working maybe 30 hours a week instead of 50. I started turning down work because I was too busy. I had to raise my rates to filter out the people who were not serious. I went from $150 an hour to $250. I did not lose a single client. I actually got more interest because apparently higher prices signal higher quality. I moved into a nicer apartment, a 2-bedroom place with a real office, a gym in the building, a parking spot. I treated myself to a new car, nothing crazy, but nice, comfortable, the kind of thing I had always wanted, but felt guilty about buying when I was giving my time away for free to family. Meanwhile, the family construction company continued its death spiral. They were hemorrhaging money. Projects that should have taken 4 weeks were taking 8. Clients were demanding refunds. Subcontractors were refusing to work for them anymore. Dad was scrambling to put out fires while Tyler blamed everyone but himself. About 4 months in, Dad called me directly, not Mom as a messenger. Him. "I need your help, not for Tyler, for me. I built this company from nothing. I cannot watch it die. You handed it to someone who is killing it. That was your choice. I made a mistake. I see that now. But please help me save what I built." And there it was. The acknowledgement I had been waiting for. Part of me wanted to say no. Let it burn. Watch them figure it out. But I am not built like that. Despite everything, I did not actually want to see Dad lose his life's work. I just wanted him to see what Tyler really was. I will help, but I have conditions. Anything. First, I am not doing this for free. You want me to save the business? You pay me consulting rates. $200 an hour, 20-hour minimum per week. Second, Tyler has no decision-making authority while I am working. He can show up, he can learn, but he does not override anything I do. Third, once the business is stable, we are having a serious conversation about succession planning. Real planning, not just handing it to whoever needs it most. Dad agreed to everything, probably because he was desperate, probably because he knew I was his only option. I came back, but not as the free family labor. As a paid consultant with a contract and everything in writing. I worked exactly 20 hours per week, billed every minute, and did not do a single thing beyond what I was contracted to do. The first thing I did was assess the damage. It was worse than I thought. They were about $90,000 in the hole. Suppliers would not extend credit anymore. 3 projects were so far behind they would likely face breach of contract lawsuits. The accounts were a disaster. Tyler had been mixing personal and business expenses, paying himself whenever he felt like it, buying stuff for his apartment with company cards. I spent the first month just stabilizing the bleeding, reached out to suppliers I still had relationships with. I explained the situation honestly and negotiated new terms, not as good as before but better than payment up front. I collected on unpaid invoices, set up a proper accounting system that even Dad could follow. But here is the thing, I only did exactly what I was contracted to do. I did not go above and beyond. I did not work nights and weekends. I did not bring in new clients or chase big projects. I did my 20 hours per week, billed them properly, and went back to my own thriving consulting business. The business stabilized but did not grow. They were no longer hemorrhaging money, but they were not making the kind of profit they used to either. And that was sustainable for keeping the lights on, but not for Dad's retirement plans. About 5 months into this arrangement, Mom called me again. Your father is exhausted. He is 64 years old and working 60-hour weeks trying to keep this business afloat. This needs to end. I agree, he should sell the business and retire. He built this company from nothing. It is his legacy. Then he should have thought about that before handing it to someone who had no idea what they were doing. What do you want from me, Mom? I want you to come back, run the business properly, help your father retire with dignity. At what cost? Do I just forget that Tyler spent 3 years sleeping with my girlfriend? Do I pretend it is normal, that you all knew or at least suspected and said nothing? That your first response was to tell me not to cause drama? We did not know, she insisted. Rachel spent every Sunday at your house. Tyler was there every Sunday. You think they were just really good friends? You all saw what you wanted to see because it was easier than dealing with reality. That is not fair. Fair. You want to talk about fair? Where was fair when I spent 3 years helping Dad for free? Where was fair when Tyler got handed a business he was not qualified to run? Where was fair when you told me to let it go after I found out I had been cheated on for 3 years? She did not have an answer for that. Just silence on the other end of the line. Here is what is going to happen, I said. I am going to finish out my contract, which has 4 months left. In that time, I will get the business to a point where it can be sold. Dad can retire, you can downsize, and Tyler can figure out his own career path. After that, I am done. No family dinners, no holidays, no pretending we are one big happy family. You are being cruel. No, I am being honest. For the first time in my life, I am putting myself first instead of sacrificing for a family that does not appreciate it. You should try it sometime. I hung up before she could respond. As for my family, last I heard from Jordan, who keeps tabs through mutual friends. Things are not great. Dad and Mom sold their house and downsized to a condo. The retirement money is going faster than expected because they are helping Tyler with rent. Yes, helping Tyler with rent. It turns out when you lose your cushy job because the business gets sold and you have no actual skills or work history, finding employment is tough. Who knew? Rachel tried to reach out a few months ago. A long text about how she had been working on herself, realized what she had done wrong, wanted to apologize properly. I read it, felt absolutely nothing, and deleted it without responding. She sent another message 1 week later asking if we could at least talk. I blocked her number. Tyler's text was even better. It came about 1 month ago. I hope you are happy now. You destroyed our family's business just to get revenge. I actually responded to that one. I did not destroy anything. I salvaged what I could from your incompetence. I got dad enough money to retire and walked away. The fact that you see me refusing to sacrifice myself for you anymore as revenge says everything about who you are. Do not contact me again." He did not. As the curtain closes on the personal story, let's look at the bigger picture. We often see the profound concept of family harmony twisted and weaponized to maintain a deeply toxic status quo. In this sobering narrative, the protagonist spent years acting as the reliable and visible backbone, providing free labor and essential financial salvation to a father who simply expected it because that is what family does. Meanwhile, the blatant, ongoing favoritism shown to a brother who constantly failed and contributed absolutely nothing was gently brushed off as him just finding his path. This devastating dynamic perfectly illustrates how society conditions the most reliable individuals to endlessly sacrifice, falsely framing their quiet endurance as moral duty, while relentlessly shielding the reckless ones from the natural consequences of their own careless actions. When the horrifying truth of a 3-year affair between the golden child brother and the long-term girlfriend was finally revealed, the family's immediate instinct was not to demand basic accountability, but to urge the victim to swallow the pain, stay calm, and above all, not destroy the family. It is a truly chilling reminder of how the immense cultural pressure to keep the peace often completely crushes the very person who has been quietly holding everything together. As I thoughtfully look at the protagonist's incredibly difficult journey, I desperately want you to realize something absolutely crucial. Drawing a firm line in the sand is never an act of cruelty. When you finally stop setting yourself on fire to keep everyone else warm, the people who comfortably relied on your endless sacrifice will invariably accuse you of holding the match. The sudden collapse of the family business was not a calculated act of revenge. It was the entirely natural, scientifically inevitable result of deliberately placing an unqualified, profoundly incompetent individual in charge of a complex operation. Breaking this ingrained generational cycle of enabling takes immense, almost superhuman courage. It requires the raw strength to confidently walk away from heavy emotional guilt trips and to boldly reject the inherently false narrative that unconditional love must mean unconditional tolerance for abuse and betrayal. Reclaiming your own life, aggressively building your own independent success, and flatly refusing to be a convenient doormat is not destroying a family. It is an undeniable fact, an act of profound self-respect and setting the universe right by simply allowing gravity to finally take hold of those who have been artificially propped up for far too long. If you found yourself trapped in a situation where the people who share your blood demanded you swallow an unforgivable betrayal just to maintain a comfortable illusion of peace, would you choose the painful, lonely liberation of walking away? Or would you quietly endure the silent, soul-crushing weight of staying forever just for the sake of family?